All right, I'm joined now by Senator Lindsey Graham. Senator, I want to get to all that, but first, you were at a very late night.
Yes.
First procedural hurdle on this big budget bill.
Yes.
But I want to ask you about your colleague, Tom Tillis,
Okay.
Who voted against it.
Right.
And he said that it contains significant changes to Medicaid that would be, in his words, devastating to North Carolina. Do you respect his view on that? I know you disagree with his vote.
I respect him a lot, but here's what we're doing when it comes to Medicaid. It's grown 50% in 5 years. It's about to take over Medicare. What we've done is we limited the growth of Medicaid to 6% for 2 years. After that, 4% growth. We haven't cut Medicaid. We've reduced the growth, and Ted Budd is going to vote for the bill.
The other senator from North Carolina.
I hope Tom, he's a wonderful man, a good senator, and we'll get through this.
Well, look, I know Lisa Murkowski had the same concerns, but the bill kind of exempts Alaska from some of the big changes with Medicaid. But let me ask you, the president went on a tirade against Tillis last night.
Yeah.
Said he's going to meet with primary challengers. Said that he's grandstanding on all of this.
Yeah.
What do you make of that? Is he grandstanding?
I've been on the receiving end of that.
Yes, you have.
He runs hot and he can forgive. We're trying to do hard things that should be done and have to be done. We're $37 trillion in debt. Medicaid has grown 50% in 5 years. It's about to take over Medicare. What we've done is limited the growth to 6% for 2 years, 4% after that, so Medicaid is not cut. But what Obama did, Medicaid originally was for children and disabled people, and Obama expanded it to include able-bodied adults. And one way we've saved some money is we say in this bill, if you're an able-bodied adult, not disabled, not a child, and you don't have any children under 14, you have to work 20 hours a week to continue Medicaid. I think that's eminently reasonable. And the provider tax is a scam, and we're trying to fix that.
The states say it's going to be very complicated to track that. This is one of the big problems
Not
that
really.
Murkowski had. So anyway, we'll debate that as this bill
Sure.
goes forward. Let's turn to the Supreme Court decision.
Okay.
Chuck Schumer said it is a terrifying step towards authoritarianism.
Yeah.
I know you don't agree with that.
No, I don't.
But both Schumer and Trump seem to think it made him a very more powerful president.
So what happened? What are we talking about? A single federal district court judge has been able to enjoin policy for the nation, and Amy Coney Barrett said that the equitable powers of a federal judge have limits. So we actually did this. We went to Texas and got a federal district court judge for a period of time to enjoin Obamacare. So the ruling was a single judge cannot stop policy for the entire country. That's beyond the mandate of a federal district court judge. You still have judicial review, but it has to go up the chain. A single judge can't stop a program for the entire country, and that's a good thing because people were going judge shopping. The right would go to Texas.
I mean, you were going judge shopping back
Everybody
in the day.
goes judge shopping.
I'm old enough to remember when you were all in favor of the injunction against DAPA under
Totally.
Obama.
I mean, and I'm here to say judge shopping needs to stop. We need to have a system where if you're going to enjoin policy for the nation, it's done at a higher level than a single judge for the left or the right.
So Republicans will be complaining about this at some
Eventually.
point. Let's turn to Iran. I want to play something that President Trump had to say Friday. Listen to this.
The last thing they're thinking about right now is enriched uranium. They're not thinking about what they want to do is they want to get back to life, and they do want to meet me, and we'll do that quickly.
Do you agree with them that Iran has basically given up on its ambitions to be a nuclear power?
Too early to tell. I do agree that the 3 sites were obliterated. If you go to the dictionary and ask...
Okay, obliterated, but what about the uranium? Where is that?
So the 900 pounds?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's at the bottom of Fordo or some other site, but it's still out there. But here's the big point for me.
And does that concern you? Is that
definitely. Operation Midnight Hammer was a tremendous military success. It set the program back, I think, a couple of years. But the question for the world, does the regime still desire to make a nuclear weapon? The answer is yes. Do they still desire to destroy Israel and come after us? The answer is yes. Until that changes, we've got to keep we're in trouble.
But the president seems to say, look, they're done with that. Now we're just
They're
going to move on.
done with that enrichment program, but they're not done wanting to destroy Israel or trying to come after us. They're rounding up their citizens by the thousands.
Yeah.
They're executing people. They're trying to
anybody who they think could have been
There's
suspicious.
a purge going on in Iran. So when you're sitting down and talking to the Iranians, you got to remember, as you talk to them, they're slaughtering their own people to stay in power.
So is it a mistake to sit down and talk to them?
I think here's the requirement to sit down and talk. They have to say, for the first time, the Iranian regime, we recognize Israel's right to exist. We don't like the state, we don't like what they do, but we recognize Israel has the right to exist as a people, the state of Israel does. If they can't say that, you're never going to get a deal worth a damn. So before you sit down with the Iranians, make them say publicly for the first time, Israel has a right to exist, and if they can't say that, that tells you all you need to know about who you're dealing with.
Because the president suggested he was ready to lift sanctions. He wants to have trade deals with Iran.
That.
I know he stepped back on that, but if there's negotiations,
I do not believe it's fair 80 years after the Holocaust to put the Jewish state in a room full of religious Nazi Ayatollah types. No matter what you give them, they still want to kill you. So to start these negotiations, let's start with the proposition that the Ayatollah is rejecting his past policy of killing all the Jews and destroying Israel. If the Ayatollah can't say to the world, we no longer wish to destroy Israel even though we have differences with them, then how can you get a good deal if the guy that you're dealing with wants to kill you?
Now, I want to ask you about Russia, because you're pushing this bill to impose severe new sanctions on Russia. Have you gotten Trump on board with this?
Big breakthrough here. So what does this bill do? If you're buying products from Russia and you're not helping Ukraine, then there's a 500% tariff on your products coming to the United States. India and China buy 70% of Putin's oil. They keep his war machine going. My bill has 84 co-sponsors. It would allow the president to put tariffs on China and India and other countries to stop them from supporting Putin's war machine to get him to the table. For the first time yesterday, the president told me...
You were playing golf with him.
Yeah, I was playing golf with him. He says, it's time to move your bill. There's a waiver in the bill, Mr. President. You're in charge of whether or not it's to be implemented. But we're going to give President Trump a tool in the toolbox he doesn't have today. After the July break, we're going to pass a bill that would allow the president...
And he's going to sign it.
Yeah, I think we're in good shape. But he has a waiver. It's up to him how to impose it. But we're trying to get Putin to the table.
Very quickly before you go, the administration has forced the resignation of the president of the University of Virginia. Do you have a problem with the idea, again, we have different presidents, different times, different parties, but a president dictating to a university personnel decisions who the president could be?
Here's what I'm not really familiar, but I know that President is sort of declaring war on Harvard because they're such an anti-Semitic place. They're allowing people to run around and spit on Jewish kids. This DEI stuff, you know, they get federal dollars. I'm sure it's nothing personal. I'm sure it's based on his behavior, support for DEI programs that he believes, President Trump believes, not good use of taxpayer dollars. And as to Harvard and these other elite Ivy League schools, I enjoy and support freedom of speech as much as you do. But freedom of speech doesn't cover the ability to spit on a Jewish kid going to class.
I mean, to be clear, the president of the University of Virginia has not done that or tolerated that.
No, but he's probably embracing policies that President Trump thinks are not good investments by the taxpayer, and I agree with that.
All right, Senator Lindsey Graham, thank you for joining us.